Chapter 3: The Elite Bar. I was afraid of losing you, so I chose to run away. Shivani Singh. Mia's POV. The Elite Bar. The huge golden-colored sign in front of the building is enough to make me worry. It's one of the elite bars of this city. Unlike regular bars where most people can afford to go, this bar only entertains the elites who pay way more than one can imagine. Most of the people work here for money, why wouldn't they? Their one-day tip is more than a wage worker. The bar is also known for having good-looking employees. But what worries me most that he is working here. Are you sure this is the place? I ask, looking at Darren, who is in the driver's seat. He looks at me from the rearview mirror. Yes, I checked it twice. He works in this bar as a bartender, sometimes as a server. But why would he work here? I mutter with a heavy sigh. I had never imagined that I would meet him in such a place. Trevor always wanted to be a professional swimmer. That's why I always invested a small amount of my income in that sport, hoping that one day we would meet. But this is not the future I imagined for him. I always thought if we met someday, then you'd be in a better place. Then did he give up on his dream? But why? Why would he? What happened to him all those years? Is he okay? There are so many questions running through my mind, but there's no way I can ask him all that. How can I? With what right? After all, I was the one who left him. I just disappeared without a word, let alone a goodbye. Back then, I had no option but to do what my mother asked me to do because it was the only way I could save my father. It seems Mr. Henry Klein took out a loan for his wife's treatment, but he was only able to pay 1/3 of the amount, Darren says. And that was 7 years ago. 7 years ago. I am not understanding what is he trying to say. My heart starts to beat fast hearing Darren's word. My brain is giving me warning signs, telling me something bad must have happened in the past. I take a deep breath to calm myself and ask, are you saying that they haven't paid the loan yet? As far as I know, Trevor's family was financially stable. They never had to struggle with anything, even though Trevor had 3 more siblings. Yes. Darren sighs. Mr. Klein was involved in a road accident 7 years ago, and since then he's unable to work. His son, Trevor, dropped out his college and started to take different odd jobs to provide for his family. Darren's words shook me up. I couldn't believe my ears. So many things happened to him and I had no idea. I let out a heavy sigh. If my mother hadn't cut off all of my contacts, then I sighed deeply. I shouldn't have believed in my mother back then. But she came into my life in a time when I needed her the most. My father had never told me anything about my mother, so I never knew what kind of person she was back then. Obviously, I had my doubts when she said she'd help out me. But with Dad's medical bills and my school, I had no option but to lean on her for support. At first, she pretended to be a good mother, so I didn't doubt that much. And by the time I realized her true face, it was already too late. I lost all of my contacts. She even made sure that I sought out no one from the past. No one should ever know I was her illegitimate child. To her, I was nothing more than a bait. She only bought me here to become Sarah's shadow. Everything I have achieved or won is for Sarah's sake. She wanted Sarah to suppress Nathan in every possible way. But with her ability, Nathan is out of her reach. Even with all my abilities, I had never beaten Nathan once. He's truly a genius. If he wasn't there with me, then I wouldn't have survived in this house. At least, that old lady cares for her grandson enough to listen to everything he says. Although his affection for me comes from his deep-rooted love for his mother. He often told me how I resemble his mother, which I find hard to believe. There's not even a photo of her in that house. Wait, what happened to his mother? Was Mrs. Klein unwell? I ask, realizing that I missed an important part of this whole conversation. Didn't you read the file I gave earlier? Darren asks. Which file? I mumble, closing my eyes in frustration. The dark blue one without any label. It contains all the information about Trevor Klein. Ah, that one, I remember now. I was about to read it when Chris burst into my cabin without knocking. After that, I didn't get a chance to check it out. Oh, that one. No, I didn't. I sigh. That idiot Chris interrupted me, and you didn't even tell me it's about him. Well, I couldn't because of Mr. Evans, he replies. You should ask Mr. Evans not to burst into your cabin like this. He lacks manners and the understanding of boundaries. Well, Darren isn't wrong. Chris is probably the worst guy I have ever met. His fake smile is enough to let me know what goes through his dirty mind. It's probably the reason he couldn't even hold a candle against his half-brother. But why are you sighing so much after hearing about Mr. Trevor Klein? Darren asks. Isn't his situation perfect for your plan? I look at Darren with disbelief. I have been working with this man for nearly 8 years and this is what he thinks about me. Do you think so low of me, Darren? I ask, shaking my head in disbelief. Darren frowns hearing my question. It's not about what I think. It's just a fact. If you think about his situation, then he's the perfect candidate for your plan. He needs money and you need a man who is willing to create a scandal with you and for you. Well, he's not wrong. From an outsider's perspective, it might seem that way. But what annoys me most is his nonchalant expression. Damn, how can you say those things with your straight face? Darren doesn't say anything, just blinks his eyes. Darren is probably the smartest person I have seen besides Nathan, however, he's too blunt. I have no idea why he chose to work with me instead of Nathan, who is far more superior than me in everything. And there's a higher chance that Nathan will inherit the company. Nick is too young to be considered even for the CEO's position, and Sarah, even if she wants to compete against Nathan, I doubt Grandma will approve her as a candidate. I, on the other hand, don't have any right to inherit the company. The old lady let me stay to keep her family secrets within the family. She also wants to take advantage of Nathan using me, which is why she hasn't done anything to me yet. Although the main reason why I am still living with this dysfunctional family is my mother. She needs me until Sarah becomes the official heir. Are you thinking of going there? Darren's question interrupts my thoughts. You know, the bar is owned by Eric Evans. I know, I mutter. And that's what makes it a perfect place for me to meet Trevor. But are you sure that Eric Evans wouldn't tell anything about your visit to his brother? Darren asks, curiously. If you ask me, then I think he would love to brag to his brother about your surprise visit, considering their love-hate relationship. I laugh hearing Darren's words. Even though he has only met Eric a handful of times, he's still able to understand Eric's personality. It seems you know a lot about Eric's character, but you are forgetting that Eric is my friend as well. He would be thrilled to help me out so that he can see his brother's and my sister's downfall. After all, our enemies are the same.